Here we have our Coat Universal trailers. It's a pack, it's 3 trailers of varying sizes. Well, 2 of them are the same size, just one has a lorry hitch and one of them has a tractor hitch. But these are great. They add a dimension to the game in terms of the fact that they haul water, they haul milk, they haul diesel fuel. They basically will take care of your liquid needs, and of course with a small edit you can add stuff like beer and milk and buttermilk to it as well. These are nice, they look good, they look nice when they get dirty as well, just because they've been sitting in a field forever apparently. So they're a good addition to your game if you need some large-scale tankers. Here we have what I'm going to call the covered transit. We have a couple of Pepsi branded Great Danes, and we have a SKO cool thing over there. I don't like any of them. Okay, the Great Dane trailers can be filled with potatoes and sugar beets through magic. I don't like that concept. I don't like you have to unlock things to put things into the vehicle, because you should just be able to put it in there, close the door, and the thing doesn't fall out, right? That's what I think. There's a Great Dane from 2013 that worked great. These are not that. The SKO cool thing over there doesn't work when attached to the in-game lorry. Doesn't work when attached to the in-game converter truck thing. Doesn't work when attached to a modded lorry. Doesn't work when it's attached to a modded dually truck thing. In fact, in order to get it over here, I actually had to use two telehandlers to lift it up and put it on top of a flatbed, drive it over here and get it off, because nothing could haul it up here. So it's a terrible thing for that. I'd say skip all of this. And let's hope that the Great Dane from 2013 gets properly ported over to 15. So let's just skip these guys for now. Flatbeds. Well, we have one that tried to run away. Silly thing. And then we had 2 others. Now this one came as part of the Eurovia pack, or Eurovia pack. I thought it was great. We'll cover why I don't think it's great. We have 2 eager beavers here. They're eager to go on the back of a truck. And then we have this one here, which is actually on its way down the hill for reasons I don't fully understand. That's not necessarily a problem with the mod itself, so much as a problem with farm sim and hills. The eager beavers are fine, except for they're heavy. They're not going to work with our truck that we're driving around. They really need a dually or a tractor. I don't really like that. Once you put a load on it, whoo, you're not going to be pulling it with much other than a heavy-duty tractor. Still, they're nice. They're decent. If you need a bumper pull, give them a shot. The Eurovia I don't like because it actually has a problem when loading on the back at the junction point here. I actually had an issue where several pieces of equipment would not load because they kept falling into a crack between the extended ramps, because you can actually put boards on those ramps to extend the width of those ramps. I couldn't get any harvesters up here because their tires kept falling into this magic opening that I couldn't figure out. So I'm not so sold on that. This one that is currently running away is actually the best. And best is a relative term, because now that I come down here, it's going to stop running away. No. Nope, it's still moving. Oh, now it's not moving. It's my position that causes this thing to move. Alright, so this is probably the best out of the group. Best is in quotes, because obviously it's currently mobile. I think it's more to do with Farm Sim 15 than the mod itself, but I'd say give this one a go first, then the Eurovia if you absolutely need a lorry pulled low loader. When it does come to lorries, we have 3. We have the Western Star in Pepsi livery. We've got the Volvo in Eurovia livery, and then we have 2 Peterbilts. They're in a pack. The Western Star is insane in terms of its speed. I think it's a 100-kilometer-an-hour truck, which in reality is real, but here in Farm Sim with a bad physics engine that is Farm Sim, way too fast. Unless you have the drive control mod, I would never use that thing. It needs to be reined in by via drive control. I don't really care about the Eurovia Volvo. You can pick up a Volvo. They're a dime a dozen on any mod site, so it really doesn't add anything to the game as far as I'm concerned over the in-game man truck, other than the fact that a lot of people don't like man trucks. The Peterbilts, however, I like. I really like these Peterbilts. They do a very good job. Yes, they're kind of weird with the blackout of the lights and the logo and the horn and everything. Yes, that's weird, but they work well. They do a good job. They look nice interior-wise. They're a bit difficult to manage on European maps, but it adds that little extra challenge to the game. I definitely give them a look, and they don't shine in the middle of the night like some. So I'd say take the Volvo, or take the Peterbilts. Volvo if you have to. Don't bother with the Western Star. This is the always fun category where I don't know where to put the mods, so I just kind of dump them in a category and call it MISC. We have some good, and we have some bad, and we have some just horrible. We have this bit here, which is for the front loaders. You need the in-game Liber or similar attach point for this. This allows you to pick up heads for your harvesters and put them somewhere. Good mod, especially if you need to store your heads separate from your harvesters. It's great. You can use it for stacking, whatever you need to do. I like that mod. This Eurovia building plus its little attachment thing is stupid. No need for that ever. This is a cute mod, but I don't really understand its use beyond role-playing within Farm Sim. It's just a little house that you can get in and walk around. It's cute, it's neat, but it's not really necessary to the game. It doesn't really add much to the game. These two Eager Beavers are great. They are heavy, like every Eager Beaver. They are heavy trailers, so hooking them up to the in-game truck gonna be a difficult thing, but they are a fertilizer trailer, the one on the left, and a seed trailer, the one on the right. Carries enough seed or fertilizer to fill most seeders, though certainly not a 42-row seeder in the case of that big monster seeder. But they carry enough for you to take out on the road with you if you're going to a far field, so that you don't have to worry about, you know, running out of seed or fertilizer. This seed trailer was supposed to be for removing seed from the seed and fertilizer building of Rosenthaler. It never actually worked properly, so it's not really worth anything. There is a new one out that I believe fixes that problem, but I didn't test that one, so there you go. That's the weird MISC collection. I want to touch quickly on the Marshall set here. The Marshall set has a bunch of different pieces of equipment. On the left, we got ourselves a standard grain hauling piece of equipment. The two in the middle are solid waste fertilizer slingers, and then on the right is a bale trailer. The grain trailer is overly expensive for what it is. There's better ones out there for cheaper, but it works and it looks really nice. The poo slingers, they work fine. They do their job. They're fine. The bale trailer, we determined, was not a great trailer in live streams. It loses the round bales only too easily and doesn't seem to hold things properly. The gravity well it has for holding the bales is not all that great. So the Marshall set is great if you really are looking for Marshall equipment. Otherwise, there's better things out there for doing all of these jobs. Mowing is always a fun thing to do, right? Of course it is. So we had the John Deere Mocos, a new and a used version. We had the Ferre hydraulically operated thing for that usually is used for cutting like roadside. We had an old school thing that you actually have to get out of the tractor to unfold. Yes, you have to get out of the tractor to unfold it. I did not know that, but now I do. And then we had the Big Kloss Disco. Now, out of this, I say the Big Kloss Disco is the best one out here when you're looking at high end. The Mocos, John Deere Mocos, are great low-end pieces of equipment, especially the used one. It's cheap and inexpensive. The Ferre is great if you're doing, again, role-playing or you need to reach around something in order to do the cutting. But then how do you collect it? That's always a question. In terms of price, by the time you're buying that, you might as well buy a Moco. The old school one there is great if you literally have old school, if it's small, basically, or looking for something inexpensive. In the end, I'd say Kloss Disco and then the Mocos. Here we are at the sawmill. Sawmill's on the left. The sawmill is a great thing, and then we had some equipment for it. So first we had 2 trailers here. One is lorry pulled and one is obviously bumper pulled. These will accept the pallets of wood that are produced by the sawmill. The little piece of equipment here on my lower left is that needed to pick up those pallets and load them onto the trailer. Obviously necessary equipment if you have the sawmill. So they sort of go together. I didn't actually demonstrate it on screen, but I did test it out in a separate map. This does work. It works fine. And it's functional. And it works great. So give it a go if you need the sawmill. This piece of equipment is a great little toy. It's an old, basically a Russian tank. But it'll pick up and haul around your logs. It's great if you're doing a bunch of logging and you just need to push stuff off to the side or get things out of the way, or grab it with those big powerful claws and dump it into the sell point. Very good if you've been struggling with loading some of these trailers. You could also load a trailer with this actually, if you tried hard enough. It actually will lift pretty high up there. So definitely all worth taking a look at depending on your needs in forestry. Mining is a category we really didn't cover much here because obviously we don't have a map that does mining. They are out there. And these 2 mods are mining mods. We have the Volvo dumper and then we have this giant Caterpillar 994F. Now, while I don't do mining, there's another use for these. If you go into the XML of the mod and add silage to these, you have a very large silage device and a very nice dump truck for silage. I would advise doing that, and then you could make use of these. Very nice if you want to become Silage King, or if you're playing in a map that has mining. Both of these look okay. The Volvo has a problem when it turns tightly. It lifts its offside wheels off the ground because of the way they designed the Arctic on that. And the Cat feels like it needs a little bit of TLC, but both of them are functional. And if you want mining, or want to modify them for silage, worth taking a look at. Trucks. Trucks are amazing. We've got a bunch of trucks. We have everything from a Kamaz and a Kraz and a Dodge and a Kamaz. Maybe that's not a Kamaz. Either way, we have 3 Russian trucks there. We have a Dodge, an old school Dodge. We have some model AA's. These are an amazing little pack. And then we have this Kenworth. Don't bother with the Kenworth. It's a disaster area. Just ignore it. It actually is killing my frame rate. The AA pack is beautiful. It is amazing. You get all kinds of cool things. It has a little bit of work of animation with it. It's just a neat little pack. They're inexpensive vehicles. You got a milk tanker, you got a dumper, you got a logging truck, you've got a silage slurry truck, you got a poofling or a feeding truck. That's what that one is right there. It's a feeding truck. I missed it in the actual spotlight. But that is a wonderful pack to have. I would totally recommend putting that in your game. Skip the Kamaz. It's actually full of log airs. The Dodge is a decent enough little truck if you're looking for it. It doesn't actually dump, but it will do a decent job, and it's relatively inexpensive, and it has a lot of extras in it. If you're looking for a neat old school Dodge. This truck also has a good number of log airs in it, some raw textures, but it also has a lot of neat functionality and features, opening the engine compartment and all of that stuff. Definitely worth taking a gander at if you're looking for kind of the World War II era or thereabouts Russian truck. And then we had this big boy. This big boy that came out of Spin Tires, almost like it just dropped out of the sky out of Spin Tires. It has a big bed on it. If you take that off, you have a standard lorry hitch on there. Decent enough, works, proper speed, proper sound. If you're looking for a big 8x8, worth taking a gander at. Personally, I'm totally in love with these AA's. They're wonderful looking trucks. But I wouldn't give these 3. I wouldn't sneeze at these 3, though they each need a little bit of cleanup in terms of raw textures. You know, it's always fun to watch tractors as they slowly race each other across the field while they're parked. Nice. All right, so we didn't actually do this many tractors, it feels like, but we did. So we have a couple of cases. The Case International 5130 and the Case International, whatever this thing is, 14-something, yeah, 1455 XL. We have this thing, which is not a John Deere. It is a rebranded Class Xeron. We had our 6130R. We had our 8360R. We had this set of 9560s. We had the R, and we had the whatever that is with treads. And we had this one here with bigger treads because it's a 9560R thing. Then we had the MTZ892. We had that Massey Ferguson that's on its way across the field. We had these Araba Steigers. We had the Schluter, and then we had these two Ursus, the 8014 and the whatever this is, 5044. Now, out of all of these, I'm going to say we're going to want the Araba Steigers and the Schluter. Okay? One, they're not moving across my field. But two, the Araba Steiger is inexpensive and strong like an ox. That's great, especially when you're running a new farm. You want these strong as an ox, small price pieces of equipment that can do all the work you need to do, especially in 15 where hills matter. So it's a great addition. Now there is a Kurovitz out there. We haven't looked at the Kurovitz, but I do know the Kurovitz is similar to, if not better than the Steigers. But for us, the Steigers are what we covered. I like the Schluter because it reminds me of the amazing Schluter in 13, and it's got the extras of taking on and off the top, and it's a neat old school tractor, though it doesn't, like the Raba, have a front 3-point, and that bothers some people. The Ursus, this one is really cute, but it would be great for like an orchard, maybe. I would actually probably take the Schluter. Actually, no, I wouldn't, because the Schluter has the turning radius of the moon. The Ursus are okay. The Massey's okay, even though it's going across the field. I would skip, well, the MTZ has some performance issues. I'd skip these big John Deeres because they're not really worth it. It was this one, the 6130R. It was probably the best of the bunch if you really need it. They all came out of the plowing and planting pack of John Deere. Skip that thing. And neither of these really impressed me all that much. They're both decent, but they're not phenomenal. So I'm going to say you're going to want the Raba Steiger and the Schluter, and if you need a John Deere, get that one there out of the planting pack. Ignore the rest of them. There you go. I think that's everybody. Did I have runabouts? I did have runabouts. Let's go check out the runabouts. I bet you all wonder where the runabouts were. I parked them all conveniently behind here, and then I immediately forgot about them. So amongst the runabouts, we've got a couple of Volkswagens. Actually, we have one Volkswagen. Ignore this Volkswagen. I don't know why he's here. He's from Q1. I think it's because I just looked at Volkswagen. We have the Pontiac. We've got BMW. We've got a Silverado. We've got a big Dodge. We've got a Land Rover Discovery. We've got a big Ford 450, an F-150, and we have this thing. These two, don't even bother with them. They're both pretty bad. This one worse than that one, but they're both pretty bad pieces of equipment. Don't even bother. I wouldn't bother with the 450 either. It needs some TLC to bring it up to snuff, in my opinion. This has limited functionality, though. If you want something to play around with, it's definitely worthwhile. It has limited functionality on the farm, though sometimes that's what we want. I'd give it a go if you don't need an actual hauling truck. The Ram here is okay. I have some dislikes with some of its screen flicker that it displays sometimes. And it's decent. It's not terrible. It's just that screen flicker. I wish this thing was properly sized. I also wasn't hopping up and down. I wish it was properly sized. Then I'd say this is the truck for you. It's too small. So until it's been sized up a bit, no. Just hop over it. Both of these two vehicles actually work fine. Again, limited functionality on an actual farm. But if you want a BMW to race around with or a Pontiac Trans Am to race around with, these both will do the trick for you. They're pretty darn nice. This Rosenthaler VW bus plus trailer is great because Rosenthaler. You need the Rosenthaler stuff. This will haul all your things. It's got a nice large capacity on it. It's a little bit fast on small areas, so have the drive control mod. But it's probably the best of the pack in terms of a functional, useful piece of equipment. Even though it can't haul a big trailer, it's going to haul all of your Rosenthaler fruits if you need it to. So I'd say grab the VW if you have Rosenthaler. If you want to play around with the BMW, the Pontiac, or the Dakar truck, they'll work great. And if you want an actual physical pulling truck, set one of these two. The Chevy is small and the Dodge has got flicker problems, but they're better than the other ones. So there you go. That is the runabouts. Hopefully we find some decent runabouts. I'd like a larger Chevy. I'd like a Ford that isn't weird, and I'd like a better looking Dodge. But there you go. All right, that was Q2. We've cleaned up a whole bunch of mods. I got a whole bunch of cleanup to do on this map to get ready for the next quarter, and hopefully we'll be starting that soon. Until then, I've been DerTebbers. This has been your Farm Sim 15 Q2 mod cleanup. Until next time, keep on gaming and be awesome, everybody.